Feel good. Sore. Kicked his knee. So I got a couple of knots in here, but other than that, I feel good. I feel strong. He was stronger than I expected. I kept going for the key lock or the Kimura. I gassed my arms a little bit, which stopped the elbow. But he was tough. Man, he had a lot of heart. I give a lot of props to him. 5-day notice, 6-day notice fight. Throws you off training for a lefty for 4 weeks, and this is the second time in a row my opponent backed out last minute on me. So training for a lefty and then circling that way, I had to reverse everything, so I threw my striking off because I was so used to going that way away from the left hand. Then the switch, it kind of threw me off. My striking wasn't as crisp as I would have liked it, and I threw a couple left switch kicks. Fortunately, I kicked his knee pretty good right here, locked my leg up a little bit, but other than that, he hit me with a good right in the beginning. Once I took his strongest punch, I knew I was okay.
At first it looked like he was trying to bully and use everything he had. Yeah. Then you started working body and body. Did you know instantly this is going to pay off?
Yeah, I could feel, when I hit him, I could feel his body go lifeless. When I cut his eye open with an elbow, I felt his whole body go from that to that. And I was like, he hit me, it hurt. I hit him, he cringed, and I knew I had the power. So I knew I just had to wear him down. The only thing I regret doing is trying to submit him so many times because it gassed my arms a little bit. I'm usually known as the knockout guy, not the submission guy. So I think my body wasn't used to that tension, and then to try to swing again threw me off a little bit.
Did you notice how bad he was hurt after the first round? His corner had to come out to get him and bring him back over there. Did you think he was coming out for the second?
He was coming back out, and he's sitting on the stool, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, all right. And he's still sitting there. I'm like, I thought they were going to stop it. And he didn't even know where he was. But, he came back 2 more rounds afterwards. What heart. He's going to be a good asset to the UFC once he gets his control down a little bit,
You got into a little bit of trouble in the third, didn't you? I think he got your back and yeah.
I was never in danger. I think it was actually worked against him. Once I got back into his guard, I knew he was done. My arms were just dead from the damn key locks, excuse my French, but I really regret going for all those. I even had his arm locked one point where I felt it starting to move. I was like, I thought I had him in that one, but what heart he has,
What's your inner monologue though when you're doing that and somebody's still there and they're still coming back?
In your
what
head,
do you think?
You're like, Jesus, what the hell is going on here? Kurt's like, keep striking. Unfortunately, my arms were dead, and I was trying to, but you're just like, oh man, nothing's working. Plus the adrenaline. But my coach O'Cone put me through some wrestling, and Matt Jennings. Their cardio was always there, but my arms were dead.
Did you watch the fights last night? And if so, was that any sort of inspiration for you tonight coming in because it was such a great night?
I usually have a rule: don't watch work before you go to work. It puts things in your mind. I did watch some of the highlights. Conor McGregor, he really motivates me that he believes in himself so much. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. Even if he wasn't the greatest fighter, he believes in himself. And it gives me hope that even when I'm an underdog, I've been the underdog for like the last 5 fights, and I've knocked almost every one of them out. And I'm still the underdog all the time. Not this fight, but you believe in yourself, you do great things, and that's what I think he stands for. So he was the only person I watched the highlights of.
That's interesting too, because so many people have a problem with the way he promotes himself and his beliefs.
Of course they do, because he actually does what he says, and they don't. Why wouldn't you hate that? And I think anybody who hates on a guy who says, I'm going to knock this guy out and does it, you're hating on a guy that's been saying he believes in himself. Hypocrites. He's a true leader, and he's great for our sport. I look up to him. Robbie Lawler, guy who was almost out of the top, is now the top. I look up to him too. He was the first guy I ever seen knock a guy's eyebrow off, and I'm like, wow, I want to fight like him. They're warriors, and I love to follow in their footsteps.
Do you feel like that card has overshadowed this one at all?
Which one?
Do you feel that?
Yeah. I mean, come on. You can't top that card. I'm not going to be like, hey, our fights are just as good. We're up and comers. Those are the top of the food chain right now, I hope to one day be on a card like that, but you got to keep winning and knocking people out. I don't hate on that. I look up to it.
Question for you concerning Reebok. It's the first weekend that the guys are wearing this, and ladies, of course. What's your thoughts on it? Is it comfortable? How do you feel in it?
I love the uniform thing. I love seeing my coaches get treated better. The new locker designs. I think everything Reebok's bringing to us, we don't have to look for sponsors. We all have our little things that annoy us, which I don't need to say, but what Reebok did, look at the uniforms. Look how professional we look now. I like it, I stand by it.
When you start, when he switches, when the opponent switched, and it's southpaw to orthodox, what's the first thing you do? Do you start thinking ground up, like I got to keep my foot on the outside of his, or what do you start doing to train for that?
Well, you know, the other guy we knew wanted to stay on the outside. I knew Dominic would attack me. The first thing we said was we got to keep moving side to side because Dominic comes straight. The other guy, Marsilio, came straight. So the first thing is to go the opposite way. But when you're doing that for 4 weeks, your muscle memory is like, go that way. I even got caught with the right hand because I leaned back and went that way. Boom, I got hit when I should have leaned that way and went that way. So yeah, a couple of things did play factor. Even though I drilled it for the last couple of days, it's not going to take the 3.5 weeks of me going to the left. So it did throw me off a little bit, you know. I just wish the guys that I was going to fight would stay there. You know, stop backing out, guys. Come on.
Dominic looked really emotional at the end of the fight. Did you say anything to him afterwards?
You know what he said to me? Help me up, man. Be a sportsman. I said, of course I'll help you up. And I hugged him. And this kid takes a fight on with me 5 days, 6 days before that. He gave everything he got. And I can't wait to see him after this fight. He's one of the strongest guys I've fought. And he's up and coming. And I'm glad he's in the UFC. He's going to be an asset. And he's going to be great. I know he is. I hit him hard. And he kept coming. So I hope he takes that to heart, you know. So, yeah, he's a great guy.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Congrats.